Welcome to the post-game wrap of the Eden Prairie Eagles' 6-1 win over the Minnetonka Skippers in what was a stunning second period that saw the Eagles score 4 goals, 2 of them really in bunches. The first one opened up by a Ben Steeves goal that he delivered from about 8 inches off the goal line, and he very coolly said, yeah, I tried to do that, and that's where I like to put the puck. I practiced that, and well, he certainly did, as a knuckleball came in toward Brandon Chance, the Minnetonka goaltender. Tough one to handle as it tucks itself in below the bar. And then it was off to the races. I gave Jackson Blake credit for their second goal because I'm certain he was the one that knocked in the rebound, but we'll see if that changes. If not, it was Steeves and Blake once again hooking up as they have done so often the past 2 to 3 weeks. It's been impressive. John Mittelstadt played a terrific game today and was really good in the neutral zone. He had edge. He brought a physical presence, something that the Eagles needed to really do in the second period. They did, and I think that took Minnetonka a bit by surprise. Seeing Eden Prairie not freelance as much as they were, but really kind of get systematic about their play and get, as I would say, serious. And as the second period was running on, it was one of those things where you watched Eden Prairie and said, you know what, this team is going to be difficult for anybody to beat if they play like that. They cruised on to the 6-1 win. They had an empty netter after the Skippers were awarded a power play late in the game. It was to little avail. We have some post-game comments. We're going to catch up first with Lee Smith. I was in a media scrum with Lauren Nelson from LegacyHockey.com, as well as John Sherman from the Sun Current newspapers. So we kind of had some discussions that were floating around. We're going to first hear from Lee Smith, and then second will be John Mittelstadt, and then I'll dive in with Ben Steeves on the tail end of his conversation with John Sherman. Coming up next, it's going to be the Chaska Hawks and the Prior Lake Lakers, Prior Lake being the obvious number 1 seed here, and the Hawks being the number 4. This is going to be an interesting game. These two teams are not unfamiliar with each other, as they will face off again. District 6 at the youth level. That's really where I'm going with this. Different conferences, but the communities know each other well, so it should prove to be another magical afternoon here from Braemar Arena. Really, this Saturday, as Blaise Olson, I got to give him credit, so eloquently noted, the real hockey day in Minnesota. Now let's get into the interviews. Lee Smith is first.
And they had our kids reeling a little bit, but then we talked about we just had to stay disciplined. We had to stay within our system, and we couldn't freelance. It wasn't a game to freelance, not against the way they can play. And then I was able to shake our top line off 15 and 21 because Batchelder and Holte showed up. When they showed up and I could play them against Lagerbox line, that helped us out a lot because then we were able to have Steeves and those guys against really good players, but not as good as, Miller and what's the other one's name?
Like you contained Lagerback.
Kiffin, yeah. Well, I don't know if you ever really can stop that kid. He's so good at finding a little opening and getting the puck and getting it off, and he missed 2 wide on the power play there that could have made it 4-2 that were pretty scary. He's a great player. We have kids that can skate with him. That's the only thing that makes it harder for him is he can't just get a puck at the red line and go to the net with it because we got guys that can come back hard, and he was a main focal point in what we were trying to stop. We wanted to contend every one of his shots, and he gets the one freebie in the first period, and look at where it was, back of the net. So
he can shoot it. 2 things: tempo and physical play, puck movement. 3 things.
Yeah.
Picked up in the second. Was that part of those line adjustments you were trying to match up, or was it something you asked for?
Well, I think that I commanded that we work a little harder. I think that we kind of went through the motions in the first period, feeling it out, and it's like, well, if you're going to do that, you're going to be going home.
Yeah, totally.
Right? So you either play on your toes now or don't come crying back to the bench, and the guys really responded. I think the biggest difference was we started throwing pucks at the net, though, and that playoff hockey, when you throw pucks at the net, they bounce all over, they hit a shin pad. You just never know what's going to happen. And so it's not going to be the pretty goals early. You got to get something going to get the goalie on his heels. And we did that by, I just think, starting to shoot. The power play goal that made it 4-1 was huge. We got our second unit out there, and Holt finds Batchelder on the back door. They did a good job with the first one. They had that one really well defended, but we've worked really hard to try to create a second power play here. We got the talent to do it, right? So we have a lot of confidence in our kids, and guy goes to the box, Riku, and we have enough common sense to figure out who we're going to put in for his spot, because we've had different lineups and different scenarios all year long, and so that's the beauty of our schedule, is it prepares us for what we have to see at this time of year.
Did you see? I'm sorry, one more. Is that okay? Okay. Did you see where Ben Steeves shot that first goal from? Did you see it?
No, because I was still watching the pass by Jackson Blake, how he beat that D and he threw it around and somehow found him in a corner. So I didn't see it.
Inches from the goal line, I swear, is impressive. How good is he?
Tremendous, but the sad thing is Johnny Mittelstadt should have be up for Mr. Hockey too. It's a shame that we don't have two kids on that. So
yeah, when you talk, what Pete's talking about, he was basically on the goal line in the corner.
Right.
We put it in off the cross. I mean, you can give a guy 100 pucks. How many times can he score that?
Well, I will tell you this, that I can be coming to the practice and coming in late, and those guys are already shooting from everywhere. So if there's a kid that could do it, it's going to be him, and it's not because of luck. It's because of a lot of practice, both in his driveway and on the rink. He tries, he always says that he makes up for his size with work ethic, and Sandlin's got a pretty good player there, and Motzko's got a great one with what he's got in Johnny Mittelstadt. The growth from his sophomore year to where he's playing now, off the charts.
Immeasurable.
Off the charts.
Immeasurable.
Off the charts.
Yep. We were talking about that the other day. He's the most improved player we've ever seen.
He went from a one-way fly-around guy to a tremendous 200-foot hockey player.
And a leader. But Lauren and I were talking about that the other day.
Yeah.
About out of all the players we've seen over a 3-year period, I don't know if I've seen a guy improve that much. I'm not saying that he was.
That's exactly right.
He was how good he is now.
You're right. Right.
How about this rivalry with Tonka?
Oh my gosh. I mean, you could just tell by watching it, right? I mean, throwing hits left and right. It was the most fun game I've ever played. I mean, the energy in this rink was just unbelievable, and I've never had so much fun. That was the most fun I've ever had in my life. That was unbelievable, and I'm so proud of my team.
As a viewer, I couldn't agree with you more. And there's something about it in here on Saturdays when you get the big crowd in here, the intensity. First period, you guys almost seemed like you were feeling it out too much and you weren't yourselves. But second period, there's a switch that went on. You guys were quick, moving it and hitting. What was going on there?
Yeah, I think we just went in the locker room and we were like, we weren't hitting enough in the first period. And once you start hitting, the energy starts coming and the momentum starts coming. And our momentum was just unbelievable after we got our first couple hits. So after our first couple hits, I think we really started to get going, because in the first period we were kind of playing a more I wouldn't say I don't know how to explain it, but just we weren't hitting. That's really it, and we got the energy going. And then
I want to talk about you for a second. So I've watched you at this level since you're in 10th grade, and I do think that you should be a Mr. Hockey finalist. I have no problem saying that, no doubt about it. And you've earned it. But one thing that Lauren Nelson and I were saying, and you were a good player to begin with, but I feel as though you're the most improved player I've seen over a 2-3 year period. Yeah. It's been incredible to watch. What's been really good for you through this whole process? I think just learning to understand my situation. I started my sophomore year. I kind of came in a little cocky. I thought I'd get a spot right away, and then I really learned that I have to earn it. So I worked really hard, just earned my spot, and I think that's made the biggest difference. Just working out, shooting pucks, just doing anything I can to, be on one of the top lines. So it's been great to watch is when you see guys in your position that commit or have the verbals early and whatnot just kind of fade away. Motzko has got a hell of a player in you, and you've been one of those guys that has really elevated to what I feel is really good Division I status. From that, you've obviously got the last name, and people look at you, right?
Yeah.
You look like your brother.
Yeah,
I mean, how do you fight through that? Just say, you know what, I'm John.
It used to really bother me. Like my sophomore year, that really sucked because I didn't have my best sophomore year, and the expectations were so high for me. And I just learned to take it in, work hard. Don't look at Twitter, because you see stuff on Twitter that'll just break you down. Stay off Twitter, and it's just made me a stronger person. I'm just way more mentally tough, and I wasn't mentally tough. I thought I'd come in and it'd be easy. It was not easy. I learned it's not easy. Nothing's handed to you. So I worked as hard as I could, and without listening to the people around me.
Well, congratulations to you. Good
Thank
man.
you.
Go get him. Buddy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Pete.
So I don't want you to repeat
no
yourself,
problem.
because we're probably have to rewind. You'll be here all night. I'm sorry. So you obviously mentioned you didn't come here to not win a title.
Yep.
And you've got a lot of games under your belt. Tell me from your perspective what the vibe felt like in here today. Is there anything you've ever experienced?
I've never experienced it in my life. Having the student section, the whole school behind you, and having people from our community or parents all supporting us, it's unbelievable. And even the team on the other side, Minnetonka, them cheering against you, it's so fun playing out there like that.
It makes you feel like what it was like in the 50s and 60s.
Oh, exactly,
It's kind of old school.
And this rink, it's just perfect vibe for it. It's unbelievable.
So tell me about that goal. I mean, what were you, about 8 inches off the goal line?
Something like that.
I mean, it was, okay, so you throw it there, you get it in there.
Mm-hmm.
It was, so I'm up in the corner. I couldn't believe what I saw.
Mm-hmm.
Did you just throw it there, or were you thinking, well, let's see what happens, or
I
what?
was thinking shot. I mean, we work on that in practice, do that kind of stuff. Like before practice, 30 minutes early, I go out from odd angles, shoot from odd angles. I've always been able to score goals from there, so I usually do try and put it over the goalie's shoulder.
Well, I've seen you do it a million times, and skating's a really big part of your game. And I've always said what a great shooter you are, but your skating is really good, and you create yourself opportunities, and you can shoot from any angle, any foot, anywhere. How much of that have you worked on as a kid, and have you done it on ice, off ice? What's that been like for you?
Well, I got to thank my parents for that, because they always have supplied me the opportunity to work on that stuff. From at home in New Hampshire, I would always, from late nights and early mornings before school, I'd go out and work on my shot, and because I know that being a small guy, the only way to survive is to have speed and be able to shoot from anywhere. So, I mean, that's my game, and that I built that up from when I was a kid. So that's.
The three of you play so well together, you and Jackson and John, and it's just like, it's really wild how Jackson puts pucks in areas that he knows you're at.
It's unbelievable.
And he'll wait and he'll watch, and there you are.
Well, yeah, they're both such good players, because John supplies the energy, the speed, and the.
He's telling us to wrap it up. He won, buddy.
He supplies the energy, the speed, and he moves pucks, and he can rip the puck, shoots one-timers. Jackson Blake also brings that energy, and the thing about Jackson is he can pass from anywhere, and he takes hits to make a play, and then I try and help them out just as much as they help me out.
Has this been what you've expected? So you got a lot to do yet, obviously.
4 more games.
That's right. Has this been what you've expected, though, or more? Or tell me about that.
I came here, and we have the ability to go all the way, and that's what we want to do. We want to do that. So.
Well, good luck to you. You're a winner, buddy.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Good job. That's going to do it for our coverage of the Eden Prairie Minnetonka game. The final score is 6-1 in favor of the Eagles. The first goal of the game was scored by Teddy Lagerback at 9:34 of the first period. Duke Kiffin and Tyler Keppers in on the assist. Ben Steeves then got things started with a shallow angle goal that we talked about from the corner from Jackson Blake and John Mittelstadt. Goal number 2 officially went to Ben Steeves. It looks here from our perch that it was Jackson Blake's, but either way it would have been Steeves on the assist, Blake on the goal. They're getting ready for warm-ups here for now for Prior Lake and Chaska as the building's starting to buzz. Carter Batchelder with a big goal that Lee Smith referenced later on in the period at 16:02. And then about 29 seconds later is John Mittelstadt from Ben Steeves and Jackson Blake. By the way, on the Batchelder goal, it was Drew Holt and Mason Langenbrunner on the assist. In the third period, Riku Brown on the power play, the big frame in front, buries off of a John Mittelstadt shot of the rebound. 12:57 was the time of that goal. And then Will Britton puts in an empty netter for good measure at 14:44, an even strength marker. Your final score reads 6-1 in favor of the Eden Prairie Eagles. In goal, it was Brandon Shantz. He saw 32 shots, stopping 27 of them. And for Eden Prairie, it was Axel Rosenlund, stopping at 24 of 25. Eden Prairie will play the winner of the team that just stepped on the ice of either Prior Lake or the Chaska Hawks. We'll keep the updates coming to you here from Braemar Arena as the greatest day in high school hockey continues right here from the great state of Minnesota, the state of hockey.